2017. Well, Simon Stevens is in our Newcastle studio. He's Director of Casework at Addictions UK, which is a substance recovery charity based in the northeast of England. He's also a recovering addict himself. Simon, thank you very much for coming on the programme. A word about fentanyl, first of all. Given what's been said about that by the Office of National Statistics, how much has that drug affected people in your region?
It's having a profound effect. It's a very cheap way of adulterating heroin. So the idea maybe that people are knowingly buying fentanyl from the dark web, well, maybe some people are knowingly buying fentanyl from the dark web, but then they're using it to adulterate heroin. It has, for a lot of people, it has unexpected side effects, you know, very severe headaches as being the very least, but severe vomiting, but perhaps most of all, hallucinations and a complete unawareness of where they're at any one time. So it can be hugely problematic, but it's very attractive to people who are making a living from dealing these substances. It's a very cost-effective way of, if you like, boosting up the kind of quality of the drug. But for many people, you know, the side effects are quite profound. And also we have to look at how that adulterating substance is actually mixed into drugs, in that some people can get far more than others, and this is causing also a problem with overdoses. There are far more overdoses than are actually reported. Not all overdoses are fatal, but you know, there is a huge problem out there, particularly in the cities of the northeast, and then that's filtering out into the local sort of counties and things, rural areas around.
Why is the northeast particularly affected, do you think?
I don't know, is going to be my short answer. I can't imagine it's the only place in the country that this is happening. I know that, you know, if you look at the raw statistics, you might think, well, more people die in the northeast of overdoses, opiate overdoses and things. That can be driven by the adulteration. It could be driven by the starting number of addicts. Perhaps there's a higher percentage starting number of addicts and therefore you get more deaths. Or it could be something to do with the way that treatment is handled and things. It's probably most likely a mixture of all three. I think the real big question is why, when we live in a first world country that's incredibly wealthy, that the entire population sits in perhaps the top 7% of the world's wealthiest people, should so many of us seek to want to switch off you know, a whole part of our brain in order to try and deal with living in what theoretically should be a paradise of you know, things around us.
Well, I wanted to come on to that because, I mean, when you look at the breakdown of the figures and the way the different drugs feature in those figures, clearly there is better news for some than there is for others. And I wonder if there's anything to be learnt from those areas where the news is slightly brighter.
I'm not sure, because there are so many variable factors. But often when we look at this, we think, oh, well, this is about, you know, people who abuse drugs and it's people who live on the street. And we kind of very carefully exclude various groups, which often include ourselves, that a huge percentage of the population are abusing substances because it suppresses their emotional content. They are not essentially happy with their lives. And as I say, we live in this, we have a huge amount of resources available to us, and clearly resource alone is not what makes us happy. And in fact, it's just making us perhaps a lot more stressed and things. We look to solutions to try and reduce that emotional baggage that we're carrying.
OK, Simon Stevens, we must leave it there, but thank you very much for coming on. Simon Stevens in Newcastle.